The man shrugged. "You got the look, son. So, where are you headed? Fort Hood?" Tucker took another long sip of his drink. No, not this time. He'd left the huge Central Texas Army base for the final time earlier today on his HD Road King, without a firm destination in mind. Now he turned his head and looked through the store's ancient screen doors toward the motorcycle parked at the gas pump. "I'm possibly on the road to redemption. Or maybe ruin. The jury's still out on that one." "Huh." The gas station owner rubbed his grizzled chin stubble. "Well, I reckon most of us stand at that crossroads sometime in our lives. You want some jerky to go with your Coke. It's made locally. You won't find better." In Texas, all soft drinks were Cokes, not sodas or pops or even Dr. Peppers. Glad to be home, Tucker paid for his gas, his original, and 3 different flavors of beef jerky. Thanked the man behind the counter and headed outside. He leaned against his motorcycle, sipping the drink and chewing on a piece of jerky as he scrutinized the intersection before him. Wonder how many farm-to-market road intersections existed in Texas. He knew the 2-lane farm roads numbered over 3,000 and made up over half of the state's road system. Bet Boone would know the answer to the question. He knew useless facts like that. Tucker blew an airstream over his bottle to make it whoo, just like he'd done when he was a kid. In no real hurry to move along. He was on no time clock. Nobody knew he'd come home to Texas. This was the first time in a long time he'd had the luxury to lollygag while traveling. For the majority of the past decade, he'd operated on a ticking clock, while finding his way in and out of jungles, deserts, mountains, urban fortresses, and just about anywhere else someone needed the services of his specialized Army Ranger unit. The work had suited him. He'd excelled at the job, aided by his natural talents and traits, tenacity, endurance, the ability to make quick decisions, and an uncanny sense of direction. It also helped that he'd had more than his fair share of good luck, and, according to his late father, a head as hard as the granite dome of Enchanted Rock. Tucker had been little more than a boy when he'd decided on a military career. Having plotted that course early on, he'd never strayed from the path. Until now. Now he'd not only veered from the trail, he'd burned his map, smashed his compass, and shattered his satellite phone on the way into the wilderness. He'd left the service. He'd quit the military. This was the first time in his life that he'd ever quit anything, and he didn't have a clue where to go from here. He was lost. Figuratively speaking, that is. Tucker knew he stood at a farm-to-market crossroads where the prairies and lakes regions of Texas transitioned to the hill country. Where he was lost was inside himself. He'd lost his identity, his sense of self. He'd grown up, and he no longer knew what he wanted to be. Hell of a thing for a man in his mid-30s. "So, which way are you going?" he asked himself. He could turn north, head for the family ranch outside of Fort Worth, and do some catching up with kin. His parents were both gone now, and he'd been an only child, but he still had plenty of family. Family who would pepper him with questions and ask for explanations. He wasn't ready for that. He would not take FM 486 north toward Thorndale and weave his way up toward Fort Worth. Instead, he could head southeast, mosey on down to the coast in Port Aransas and rent a fishing boat. Or he could make a real ride of it and go west, way out west, toward Big Bend. Hiking and camping and communing with nature sounded appealing to him. That's what Tucker liked best of all. He belonged outdoors, where the air was clean and fresh, and the people along the trail were generous and good and forthright and kind. He did not belong on special assignment behind a desk in the nation's capital, surrounded by vipers. Duty that revealed the political underbelly of institutions he had always revered. Duty that darkened a man's soul.